Steve Harvey stood backstage going over his notes one last time, though every detail was already memorized. He had hosted countless episodes of Family Feud and seen many surprises, but nothing like what was about to unfold. Months of planning had led to this moment. Hidden in a quiet green room, 75-year-old Louisa Johnson waited nervously, watching the monitors as her twin sister, a sister she had never known existed, prepared to play Family Feud with her family. On stage, the Williams family from Memphis, Tennessee, stood together, wearing matching purple shirts, their smiles bright under the studio lights. Loretta Williams, elegant and poised at 75, adjusted her microphone and shared a warm smile with her husband, James, 77, whose hand rested gently on her back. Their 3 children, Marcus, Angela, and Denise, carried the mix of excitement and nerves that came naturally with appearing on television. The audience erupted as Steve Harvey stepped onto the stage, his energy filling the room. He welcomed the Williams family, sharing laughter and light conversation about their life in Memphis, their decades-long family restaurant, and the legendary soul food dishes that Loretta had perfected over 48 years. Louisa, watching from the green room, gasped quietly when she heard her sister mention sweet potato pie. Her hands flew to her face as tears began to form. She could hardly believe it. That was the recipe she had carried in her memory for decades. Brown butter, bourbon, and that secret ingredient, cardamom. It was the same recipe she had learned from her mother, a connection she had never realized until now. Steve moved the conversation forward, asking about the family business and how they worked together. Each child shared their role, from running the kitchen to managing catering. Angela, her voice trembling, hinted at a surprise that Loretta had yet to discover. The tension in the studio thickened as she revealed that months earlier, the family had taken a DNA test. The results had uncovered something incredible. Loretta had been adopted, and she had a twin sister. The room fell silent, the revelation sinking in. Loretta's legs wobbled, and James steadied her, while her children shared gentle reassurances. Louisa, backstage, cried openly, the pieces of a lifelong puzzle finally falling into place. She had found her sister. She had found her other half. Steve stepped closer to the family, his usual humor replaced by quiet respect. He revealed that Louisa, now 75 and living in Philadelphia, had also spent her life in the food business, running her own catering company and making the exact same sweet potato pie with the same secret touch. The audience collectively held their breath, the weight of the moment palpable. When Louisa finally emerged onto the stage, the 2 sisters froze, 20 feet apart, staring at each other as if seeing themselves in a mirror. They moved slowly toward each other, absorbing every detail. The same deep brown eyes, the same high cheekbones, the same gentle smiles etched by time. When they embraced, it was as if 75 years of separation dissolved in an instant. Their children and the audience watched in awe as the sisters clung to each other, tears flowing freely. They discovered, in the quiet moments of holding each other, that their lives had mirrored each other in countless ways. They had married men they met in restaurants both in June, both wearing their adoptive mother's wedding dresses, and both had children at 25. They had opened their businesses in the same year, sang in church choirs as altos, and even shared the same scars from childhood accidents. The similarities were uncanny, a testament to the unbroken connection that had always existed between them. Steve Harvey stepped back, allowing the families to come together. The Johnsons joined the Williams family on stage, blending naturally, the children discovering instant connections and forming bonds across cities they had never met in before. The sisters held hands in the center, surrounded by both families. Angela revealed that the reunion had also led to a cookbook collaboration, featuring their restaurants and signature recipes. The proceeds would fund a scholarship for young aspiring chefs, a legacy born from the love that had kept them connected for decades. The combined families laughed, cried, and embraced, filling the studio with joy and wonder. When it was time to play the show, the 10 of them formed a single team, their shared history and excitement transforming the game into something more than competition. Even in the fast money round, the sisters instinctively finished each other's thoughts, their bond evident in every glance and gesture. The prize money was quickly dedicated to the scholarship, But the true reward was the connection the families now shared. A week later, the sisters and their families traveled to Jackson, Mississippi, to meet their birth mother, Ruby Mae Thompson, now 94. She greeted them with tears and open arms, finally able to witness the reunion she had hoped for all her life. She explained her difficult decision to give one twin to each family, ensuring they would be raised well while keeping a hidden thread between them, the sweet potato pie recipe. Ruby Mae shared the story of her sacrifices, the love she poured into every decision, and the prayers she whispered for 75 years that the sisters would find each other. In the nursing home kitchen, Loretta and Louisa cooked together under her watchful eyes, learning every nuance and secret Ruby Mae had preserved. The true secret, Ruby Mae explained, was not just the cardamom or brown butter, but the love infused into every dish. It was love that had sustained them, connected them, and guided them back to each other. When the Family Feud episode aired, it became the highest-rated show in the program's history. Clips of the reunion went viral within hours, reaching millions around the world, touching hearts and inspiring other families searching for lost relatives. Their cookbook became a bestseller, and while Food Network offered them a show, they initially declined, preferring to focus on family and legacy rather than fame. Over the following years, they continued monthly calls while baking side by side in separate kitchens, teaching grandchildren, running their businesses, and expanding the scholarship fund. They visited culinary schools, offering master classes and telling their story, emphasizing that food was about more than taste. It was about connection, memory, and history. The sisters' lives, once parallel but separate, now intertwined, became a living example of resilience, love, and the power of family. Their restaurants remained community pillars, drawing people not only for the food, but for the story of two women whose bond had endured decades of separation. Sunday dinners alternated between Memphis and Philadelphia, each meal a celebration of reunion, history, and shared traditions. They aged gracefully, continuing to cook, laugh, and honor the connections they had rebuilt. When Ruby Mae passed at 96, she was surrounded by the love she had always envisioned, her daughters holding her hands, singing the hymns she had taught them, a final act of unity and gratitude. Her grave marked the story of a woman whose love had spanned generations, whose choices had created not just two successful lives, but one larger family bound by love and shared experience. The twins continued their work, their legacy growing with each year. The scholarship fund flourished, sending dozens of young chefs to school, their story inspiring countless others. They became mentors, symbols of hope, and living proof that it was never too late to find the pieces of life that felt missing. Their kitchens, once separate, remained connected through calls, shared recipes, and mirrored movements, a daily reminder of the bond that distance could never break. Every morning, they baked their sweet potato pies simultaneously, tasting them at the same moment, a ritual connecting past, present, and future. They knew that life had given them something extraordinary. They had gained 2 lifetimes of experiences, 2 thriving communities, 2 legacies built from love, patience, and faith. They no longer saw the 75 years apart as loss, but as the foundation for a richer, fuller life. Their story spread, inspiring countless families to reach out, reconnect, and cherish the connections they had. They became living proof that love and family were not defined by distance or circumstance, but by commitment, memory, and heart. The sisters lived each day intentionally, teaching their grandchildren that every recipe carried a story, every dish held a history, and every bite was a way to honor those who had come before. They shared laughter, tears, and life in full measure, never taking a single moment for granted. They had found each other, their families had merged, and the love that had been quietly woven through the years had finally been recognized, celebrated, and shared. They proved that even after decades apart, life could still be whole, joyful, and filled with wonder. When they reflected on their journey, they realized that every twist of fate, every separation, and every choice had led them to this point. What they had lost was replaced with a richness that could only come from 2 separate paths converging. They had 2 families, two communities, and a shared legacy of love and resilience. Every sweet potato pie they baked was a reminder of the thread that had always connected them, of the mother who had prayed for them, and of the power of family to transcend time, distance, and circumstance. They had turned separation into connection, absence into abundance, and longing into joy. Their lives were living proof that the heart always remembers what the mind may forget, and that true love, family love, could never be lost. And so, Loretta and Louisa continued to live fully, together at last, sharing their stories, their kitchens, their pies, and their hearts. Every visitor, every aspiring chef, and every family who heard their story left with hope that connections lost could be found, and that love, patience, and persistence could overcome any barrier. They held their families close, nurtured their communities, and honored the legacy of Ruby Mae Thompson, who had ensured that no matter the distance, no matter the years, love would always find a way. And for anyone watching, the story was simple but profound. Never give up on finding your missing pieces, because sometimes the heart knows before the eyes see, and the smallest acts of love can carry across generations. Their sweet potato pies, made with care and memory, tasted of history, of hope, of reunion, and of love that had waited a lifetime to be shared.